Even the country's oldest Latino civil rights group came out against it, yet AOC keeps defending it, saying gender is fluid, language is fluid. Yes, and Latino voters are fluid. Redress the past, or reach out to the gettable white voter who says, you know what, I'd like a shot at getting in the pot business. But to do that, our entire audience.
Have you noticed how Democrats keep finding new ways to sabotage themselves? Bill Maher just called them out, and he's right. Think about it, they pushed the word Latinx even though the Latino community overwhelmingly rejected it. Poll after poll said no, even the oldest Latino civil rights group said no, but AOC kept defending it like it was some heroic cause. Their excuse? Gender is fluid, language is fluid. Okay, fine, but voters are fluid too. And they are leaving. Latino districts that were blue for generations, flipping red. Asian parents, walking away over education. Working class families, furious over student loan giveaways. Democrats are so busy chasing hashtags, they forgot how to fight for real people. And that's why voters are switching sides. It's almost impressive how often Democrats manage to sabotage themselves. It's like they've mastered the art of frustrating their own base. Even Bill Maher, who built his brand on being the smug liberal voice, recently tore into them, and frankly, he had a point. Take the Latinx fiasco as an example. In an attempt to sound progressive, activists and politicians started pushing the term everywhere: campaign speeches, classrooms, media appearances. But instead of being embraced, it landed with a thud. The majority of Latinos rejected it outright. Polls made that clear, and even the oldest Latino civil rights group in the country said, no thanks. Yet leaders like AOC and her allies continue to defend it like it's some noble cause worth going down fighting for. Their defense? Gender is fluid, and so is language. Fair enough. But here's the political reality: Latino voters are fluid too. They can and will shift their loyalty if they feel taken for granted, and that's exactly what's happening. Maher pointed to one striking example: a congressional district along the Mexican border that had been a Democratic stronghold for generations. No one imagined it would turn red. But it did. Why? Because Democrats there stopped showing up for the community that elected them. Instead, they got lost chasing internet trends, migrant debates, and abstract woke causes. In doing so, they left space wide open for Republicans to step in and claim the trust of voters who felt abandoned.
An 85% Latino congressional district on the border with Mexico, which had always voted heavily Democratic, flipped to the red team. And the campaign manager for the losing Democrat said, "We gave up a reliably Democratic congressional seat for no reason at all. We deserve to know why." Well, aside from your terrible attitude, I'm going to tell you why. Because these voters stopped seeing your candidate as their lawyer.
Bill Maher hit the nail on the head. Voters don't want politicians chasing hashtags. They want advocates who fight for their real-world needs. People expect leaders to act like their lawyers, standing in their corner, not like culture warriors obsessed with niche internet debates. Yet Democrats keep fumbling this. Think about it. How disconnected do you have to be to push the term Latinx when the very community it was meant to uplift has loudly rejected it? Poll after poll shows the majority dislike it, but instead of listening, party leaders keep doubling down. It's almost comical. Imagine if I suddenly announced, "We're not calling it pizza anymore. From now on, it's a circular gluten unit." And when people roll their eyes or boo, I smugly reply, "Well, language is fluid." That's not inclusivity, it's arrogance packaged as progress. And here's the kicker: voters aren't blind. They can tell when leaders are more interested in scoring woke points than solving tangible problems like safer neighborhoods, better schools, or stronger local economies. The result? Communities quietly shift their loyalty to the other side, the one that at least pretends to prioritize their daily concerns.
Message to you was, I'm an American now. I'm here. Be my lawyer, not the lawyer for the migrants showing up in my backyard. Every month I see a new poll reporting how much Latinos despise the woke term Latinx. It's about as popular with them as a reboot of Speedy Gonzales.
And here's the irony. The man Democrats swore could never connect with minority voters, Donald Trump, actually made gains in Latino communities. Not because he suddenly became their hero, but because Democrats left a vacuum. When you stop acting like people's advocate, they'll fire you and find someone else who will. Politics really is that simple. Even the oldest Latino civil rights organization publicly rejected the Latinx label. Yet AOC and her allies kept clinging to it with the same defense. Gender is fluid, language is fluid. Sure, but here's the problem. Latino voters are fluid, too. They'll shift allegiances if they feel ignored. And that's exactly what we're watching happen. And this trend isn't limited to Latinos. Asian Americans are walking away from the Democrats as well, and the reason is education. In many deep blue cities, equity became the buzzword. But instead of raising struggling students up, politicians decided to level the playing field by cutting advanced programs altogether. Think about what that looks like to parents. Your child is excelling in math or science, putting in hours of hard work, and instead of celebrating that achievement, a politician tells you, "Sorry, we're canceling the program because not everyone is doing equally well." That's not fairness, it's sabotage. Parents want someone who will fight for their kids' opportunities, someone who will defend their future. More and more of those parents are now leaning Republican. The numbers tell the story. Asian American support for Democrats has dropped by double digits since the last election. And a big part of that decline is directly tied to these education policies that punish excellence in the name of equity. Asian parents voiced it plainly. "I want the best for all kids. I'm not racist. But I need someone who fights for my child like a lawyer would." And they are not wrong. This debate isn't just about Asian kids. It's about every student. Excellence inspires excellence. Remove the top performers, and you pull down the whole standard. Why should the average kid work harder if there's no benchmark to reach? Why push at all if the reward system has been flattened in the name of equity? It's not progress, it's a race to the bottom. Then layer on the pandemic. Parents were desperate to get their children back into classrooms. But Democrats chose to side with teachers' unions over families. Schools stayed closed, learning stalled, and when kids finally returned, many were worse off than before. And now Democrats are surprised that parents started voting Republican? Really? If your child comes home knowing less than when the school year began, are you honestly going to keep supporting the people who enabled that? Parents see what's happening. They know teachers' unions have a powerful lawyer, the Democratic Party, which backs them no matter what. Meanwhile, those same parents are left looking around and saying, "That's great for teachers. But who's looking out for my kid?" And increasingly, they are finding their answer in Republicans. And this is the larger pattern. Democrats keep choosing small, niche causes over the everyday concerns of the majority. Take student loan forgiveness. On the surface, it sounds compassionate. Cancel the debt, free young people to chase their dreams. But look closer, and it's a slap in the face to working-class families who never went to college in the first place, or those who worked 2 jobs to pay off their loans. To them, it's not fairness, it's favoritism. Picture this: you're a mechanic, a waitress, or a delivery driver. You deliberately avoided college because you didn't want the crushing debt. Maybe you even worked double shifts to stay afloat. Now the Biden administration is telling you that your tax dollars are being used to bail out someone who borrowed $100,000 for a degree in gender studies. How does that feel fair? You sacrificed, you played it safe, and now you're subsidizing people who often end up earning more than you anyway. That's not justice. That's politics dressed up as compassion. And voters are catching on. Biden's proposal to cancel hundreds of billions in student loans sounds generous on the surface. But here's the catch: 2/3 of American young people don't earn a college degree. Many of them make less than the graduates who are now begging for relief. Why should the poor majority foot the bill for the educated minority? It's like asking a delivery driver to help a private college build a new rock wall for its rec center. The reaction is simple: "You're not my lawyer." And the pattern doesn't stop there. Look at the recent universal basic income experiments. Some cities are handing out free money to select groups of residents, and in some cases, restricting it specifically to LGBTQ+ participants. Now, helping people in need isn't the problem. The problem is when government assistance is framed as exclusive perks for one identity group. That's not equity, that's favoritism. For years, Democrats have made pandering to the LGBTQ+ community their political love language. Every speech, every flashy policy announcement seems laser-focused on that block. But politics is about addition, not subtraction. When you spend all your energy catering to one group, everyone else starts to feel overlooked. Straight families, other racial minorities, struggling parents working paycheck to paycheck. And when voters feel invisible, they don't stick around. They leave. Sure, universal basic income sounds appealing at first glance. Who wouldn't like free money? But when ordinary Americans see it targeted at select groups while their own needs go unmet, resentment grows. Instead of gaining loyalty, Democrats end up losing the very people they claim to fight for. Many working Americans are still struggling without a college degree, and some cities have been experimenting with guaranteed income programs as a supposed fix. But even these trials reveal the same flawed pattern. Take West Hollywood's program. For example, it promised $1,000 a month for 18 months to 25 residents, but only if they identified as LGBTQ. That's why it ended up being suspended as unconstitutional. Think about how absurd that is. Are LGBTQ residents inherently in greater need than everyone else? Of course not. Yet Democrats designed it as if no one in West Hollywood would hire a gay person, a framing that insulted both common sense and the wider community. Then comes the irony. On an issue like marijuana legalization, a cause Democrats should have owned for decades, it looks like Republicans might actually beat them to it. Bill Maher, the self-appointed Pope of Pot, even admitted that Trump could be the one to push for nationwide legalization. Imagine the optics, the party long mocked as uptight and conservative delivering the very promise progressives have been dangling for years. Picture Maher himself having to light up and say, "Fine, the GOP got it done." That would be an identity crisis in real time. It's not as if Democrats never had the chance. Bernie Sanders pledged in 2020 that he would legalize marijuana on day one of his presidency. His plan even prioritized giving licenses to communities most harmed by the drug war, a fair instinct, considering how devastatingly biased enforcement has been against minorities. But here's the rub. Tying legalization to identity-based reparations is exactly what's holding Republicans back from backing a policy that could benefit everyone. This is the broader problem Democrats face. They talk a big game. They love slogans, hashtags, and moral posturing. But when it comes time to deliver practical results, they stumble. And while they fumble, Republicans, love them or hate them, are seizing the political openings. They are positioning themselves as the party that acts while Democrats perform. At the end of the day, voters don't want pandering. They don't care about buzzwords, lectures on pronouns, or endless talk about equity. They want leaders who will fight for them, protect their children's education, keep their neighborhoods safe, and stop wasting their hard-earned money. That's the job. That's the gig. And Democrats seem to have forgotten it. They've traded substance for style, but style doesn't win elections when real lives are at stake. Bill Maher isn't some conservative darling, but even he sees it clearly. Democrats are digging their own grave with these woke policies. From the Latinx debacle, to wrecking education in the name of equity, to student loan giveaways, to pandering through identity politics, they are showing voters where their true priorities lie. And it's not with the mechanics, waitresses, parents, and families who keep this country running. If Democrats don't course-correct soon, they'll continue bleeding support in places they once took for granted. For decades, Latino voters were assumed to be a reliable Democratic bloc. The same was true for Asian Americans and, of course, the working-class backbone that had long kept the Democratic Party alive. But those assumptions are crumbling. Latino families along the southern border, once solidly blue, are swinging red. Asian American parents, frustrated by attacks on merit-based education, are walking away. And working-class voters of every background are asking themselves a simple question: who's really on my side? Here's the hard truth: catchy slogans won't win an election. A clever hashtag or a round of applause at a campaign rally won't pay the bills, won't reopen struggling schools, won't lower grocery prices, and won't make neighborhoods safer. At some point, voters stop listening to speeches and start looking at results. And right now, it's Republicans who are presenting themselves as the party of action. Whether you like them or not, they are seizing issues that resonate with ordinary families while Democrats seem stuck in a loop of virtue signaling and identity-based pandering. Let's break it down. For Latino voters, the Latinx fiasco was more than a silly word game. It was a signal. When Democrats doubled down on a term the community overwhelmingly rejected, they revealed just how out of touch they had become. Instead of fighting for jobs, for border communities, for schools and small businesses, they were arguing over labels no one asked for. And when people feel dismissed, they look for alternatives. That's why long blue districts are flipping red, and why Democrats can no longer count on automatic loyalty from the Latino community. For Asian Americans, the breaking point has been education. Parents who watched their children thrive in advanced programs suddenly saw those programs stripped away in the name of equity. Instead of lifting struggling students up, schools dragged everyone down to the lowest common denominator. Excellence was punished, and merit was treated like a dirty word. Add to that the prolonged school closures during the pandemic. Closures often extended because Democrats sided with powerful unions over desperate families, and it's no surprise Asian American support for Democrats has dropped sharply. Parents want someone who will fight for their kids, not someone who makes excuses. And then there's the working class. These are the mechanics, the waitresses, the truck drivers, the people who get up every day to keep the country running. Many of them never went to college, some by choice, some because of financial realities. Now they are being told their tax dollars are going to bail out six-figure student loan debts for graduates with degrees in fields that may never pay off. How is that fair? To them, it's not compassion, it's a slap in the face. It's a reminder that Democrats seem more concerned with appeasing niche interest groups than defending the dignity of ordinary work. The same pattern shows up in policies like universal basic income experiments that target specific identity groups. In West Hollywood, a guaranteed income program was restricted to LGBTQ residents, as if no one else in the city was struggling. That's not inclusion, that's favoritism. And every time Democrats design programs like this, they send a message: some voters matter more than others. That's a dangerous message in a country where every citizen expects equal representation. Meanwhile, Republicans are spotting the openings. Look at marijuana legalization, an issue Democrats have championed for decades. Yet somehow, it's the GOP that might actually get it done at the national level. If that happens, it will be a symbolic gut punch. The party mocked as uptight and old-fashioned could end up delivering the very promise progressives have been dangling for years. Democrats talk, Republicans act. That contrast, fair or not, is beginning to stick. So where does this leave the Democratic Party? At a crossroads. They can double down on woke slogans, identity pandering, and symbolic gestures, or they can return to being the lawyers for ordinary Americans. That means standing up for parents who want better schools, for workers who want fair wages without condescension, for neighborhoods that just want to feel safe again. It means listening to communities instead of lecturing them. It means proving through policy, not platitudes, that the party still deserves the trust of the people who built its coalition in the first place. Because here's the reality: voters are not static. They are fluid, dynamic, and willing to change direction when they feel abandoned. Latino voters proved it along the southern border. Asian parents are proving it in school board elections. Working-class families are proving it every time they flip a county that's been blue for generations. If Democrats can't see the warning signs now, they may not get another chance. And that brings us back to the question at hand. Can Democrats turn it around? Can they rediscover the substance they've traded away for style? Or are they too deep in the woke swamp, too addicted to applause lines and hashtags, to climb out before it's too late? That's for you to decide. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Democrats are capable of course correction, or are Republicans destined to keep capitalizing on their missteps? Smash that like button if you're tired of pandering and empty promises. And don't forget to subscribe, because trust me, this conversation has only just begun, and we've barely scratched the surface of what's driving America's political realignment.